Hey, this is RePenWolf-Gaming, and welcome back to Roadwarden. Now, every time you load up this game, you get this little, proverb or, little message before you enter the game. It says, to invite a dragon, to be careless. I wonder what kind of dragons we're inviting. Maybe if we're making coins out of their bones, they can't be, what's the word? Too amiable to that, huh? I don't know. Amiable? I'm looking for a word. Like, they can't be happy to made into currency, right? Where we last left off, we're pulling watch for these two ragged soldiers who've been through the ringer. And we're seeing some threat displays, or not threat displays, but like two animals trying to intimidate each other. We have a dragonling. It's its mother and its offspring. Because it's some kind of reptile of some sort. And these three-horned deer. I hope those are not the were elk that the soldiers were talking about before. But we're not going to let that distract us, even though they are kind of interesting. They're not exactly a threat to us that we're looking for. So let's keep looking around. You hear the death screams of distant prey and the mating calls of monkeys. Runners are chasing a gray hare. I wonder what a runner is. A group of musk oxen lazily chew the grass, preparing themselves to sleep. A dusk fox is running together with a lynx, making playful screeches. With a lynx. So it's like some kind of canine is playing with a cat creature, and that's cool. I don't think usually this animal species play together. Okay. Thankfully, you never have to intervene. You just sit there watching the not-so-distant forest, trying to outlast your sleepiness. You can only guess how much time has passed. Hold on, sorry about that. I had to sneeze for a second. I have allergies, so sorry. You just sit there watching the not-so-distant forest, trying to outlast your sleepiness. You can only guess how much time has passed. Once you feel you've had enough, you climb down and go to a tent, waking up the bearded man with just a couple of words. You confirm that nothing important has happened. I gather my things and squeeze into the tent. I use my bag as a pillow, put my blanket on the pallet, and cover myself with my cloak. Sleeping in a tent is not the stuff of dreams, but it's much welcomed rest. The pallet keeps the cold soil away, and the moonlight saves the outside world from the eerie gloom. You listen to your own breath and find a comfortable position. Your job starts tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, even if it's pretty warm outside, the ground can really suck up the heat from your body, and it just dissipates into the ground. So you can get pretty chilly quick. That's why if if somebody were to lose a lot of blood, let's just say they had an accident, right? And that blood is what keeps them warm. So if you find somebody and they're shivering because of their loss of blood, or if anything, you want to put them a blanket underneath them and not just wrap them over the top of them. That's like an emergency situation kind of deal. But if you can get them fully wrapped in the blanket, that really helps. Anyway, I focus on the real goal of my journey. New entry, journal entry, explore the peninsula. Cool. The Merchant Guild wants to take control of this realm. Your wardening duties are secondary. First and foremost, you need to explore the peninsula. Learn about the territory, resources, and threats. Get to know the locals, and if you can, convince them to consider negotiations with H.2. H.2 officials and traders. Could the tribe resist the soldiers, or be a threat to the priests of the United Church? Are there any forbidden practices that need to be eradicated, such as blood magic, necromancy, robbery, or slavery? Looks like we have a lot of things on our plate to do. We're kind of like a surveyor, recon by force. At least I have time, 40 days to be exact, and to be as thorough as I can. So that's our time limit. We got 40 days to give a kind of survey back to the town to tell them what's up. Once you finish your reconnaissance, you should speak with Tula and return to H-Town. There, you'll report back to your employers and get your reward. In the meantime, you have your own goal to pursue. I need to gather some extra coins so I can help a person I care about. So these are like our personal goals. I need to gather extra coins so I can retire early and live in prosperity and safety. If I gather enough connections among the local leaders, I'll use them to become a major player in the Merchant Guild. I want to be remembered as the soul who brought peace and order to this realm, a hero. I just want to help people, make this region safer for the locals and the newcomers alike. Or last, I need to find a new life for myself. I have a difficult past and I want it to be forgotten. Now, I like the bottom two. They sound like something I would do, right? Probably this one. Be like a pioneer, a trailblazer of some sort. That sounds kind of cool for this kind of region. And a lot of people, they pick up and move elsewhere because where they come from is not great. I want to do this one. Yeah. New shelter unlocked. New entry help others. Can't travel during the night. Press sleep button to rest. Okay, cool. Your half-asleep senses are catching the sounds of the wild forest. Your instincts keep you alert and anxious, although the pleasant, humid, late summer air evens it out slowly. You're thinking about your goal, but you need to gather your strength. All I can do now is rest. So I can't click here. I have to click here. We'll do a quick save. And we'll sleep. We're sleeping in a tent. You can spend the night in a borrowed tent. It's nothing special, but it will protect you from the wind and rain, and the ground won't be painfully hard or cold. So it seems like we get more HP. We lose out on some hunger. And the star icon means we get a little more dirty. We don't need to eat now. We don't need to spend gold. So, let's see how it changes things. Nope. Press the sleep button to confirm, I guess. You're woken up by sunlight, well rested and ready. Without haste, you gather your things. After only a couple of breaths, you notice a weird smell, like a roast. No burning meat, burning rotten meat. Disgust crawls into your consciousness. You exit the tent. Your horse is looking around nervously. Your bags are where you had left them. You see an open gate. I go outside to see what's happening. Oh shit, what happened to our new friends? Both soldiers are standing near a humble pyre. The man in the shirt looks at it contemplatively. Tula is the first one to address you. Mr. Wolf, she greets you with a nod. We use the horse's manure for the flames, so don't worry about cleaning it up. See a corpse among the flames. It's impossible to tell if it belongs to a male or female, but it was an adult. The burning process won't be over for a couple more hours. A traveler or undead? I hope it's an undead. The latter, a young one. She lacked the pneuma to understand that she couldn't get inside the camp without climbing. I stabbed her with a spear from a safe distance. She shifts her weight. One more fog and she'd be a real threat. Even now, it took a couple of hits to knock her down. Sooner or later, every human shell wakes up, gaining more strength with each soul it devours, and each moment it spends in the fogs. Burning the dead is not just a religious practice, it's a necessity. Soldiers, priests, village mayors, even road wardens. Making a large pyre takes a lot of time, but it saves lives. Tula calls this undead a she. Most unites hesitate to do so. Oh wow. Because if you're burning a human, it's like it hits home, I guess. So it's better to call it an it or the enemy, right? Oh shit. Okay, well. This is like a normal practice. I don't know if it's like a disease or a plague or what's going on here. Running away from the reek, huh? I don't blame you. She walks with you a few steps. Find us here if you need us, or if you learn what happened to Asteron. There's enough ground here for you to rest. Safe travels. These words make you stop, an old farewell, mocked in a number of songs and tales, but yet you hear no scorn in Tula's voice. You wonder how many acts of kindness like this one you're going to experience in the days to follow. She returns to the pyre. Alright. A kind face in a not so kind place. It's very rare, I suppose. Let's prepare ourselves for the journey. Use the travel button to see the map and move to another area. You somehow miss the fact that your mount is already saddled and warmed up. You double check the equipment, but you don't need to fix anything. The soldiers were diligent. Normally, preparing any palfrey for a long journey takes a lot of time. You put on your gambeson and make sure that your axe is tightly attached to your belt, and get into the saddle. It's time for you to get to the crossroads north from here. These are good people. I feel a little guilty about like doubting them, you know. But there are good people out here. Let's try to keep that in mind. Travel forth to continue your journey. Once you're done with the north, speak with Tulia to return to H-Town. So this is Tulia's camp. Military outpost surrounded by a wooden wall set in the middle of the valley. You're currently right here. There's a map key and a nighttime shelter. What's this about? Ah, okay. Let's travel north. These roads have like fog of war. That's pretty cool. Even at a later hour, you wouldn't expect to meet any travelers in the valley. The warm summer breeze lures your mountain forward, but the serene chirping of birds is quickly replaced by the distracting screeches and gurgles coming from further down the path. You soon find the pack of four-legged griffins. They're larger than the foxes and emerge the features of birds and furred beasts. Each one is a different size, coat, and colors, and their temperaments are just as varied. Their fronts are covered with vivid feathers, while their rears have darker fur. Their wings are massive, making them impressive jumpers, but they're too heavy to fly. About 24 beasts are yelling, brawling, and chasing each other around and blocking your path. Let's consider our options. You can't enter the forest blindly. If these or other creatures were to chase after you, the thicket would be disastrous for your horse. There are reasons why travelers stay as close to the main roads as possible, and why adventurers move in groups. Usually the safest approach would be to stay where you are and just wait for the pack to get hungry. It may, however, take up to a couple of hours. You're thinking about your conversation with Tulia. You got a lot to do and time may be of essence. So we have an axe here. We can use force, use violence, or a direct threat. The dice icon marks the actions that involve a random chance. Okay. If you have any vitality points, you can use your warrior's training to access unique interactions. So, I guess this is our unique interaction right here. We have our axe here, and it has a durability too, I'm guessing. People are hesitant to trust you, your face is dirty. Well, we're a bit hungry too. I take my axe and hurry the horse. If we ride fast enough, we should be fine. Or, I should say here, better safe than sorry. Or, I grab my crossbow, a light hit should be enough to make them scatter. I mean, it's not a guarantee, right? Getting through them should be easy enough if we click this. Let's click this since it's part of our warrior abilities, right? Initially, your horse completely trusts your guidance. Now, after a few more steps, it snorts. You prepare your axe and get it ready to push away any griffin willing to jump on you. Once you get in the middle of the surprised herd, your mount squeals and gallops forward. The creatures in front of you flee, but others try to jump at you from both sides. You kick 2 of them away, and while the third one gets close, its beak lands only on your boot. The hard leather keeps you safe. You ride away, and the griffins can't keep up. You still hear the screeches when your mount slows down. I don't give them an opportunity to catch up with me. Man, we're a badass. These griffins don't seem that big if they're smaller than a horse, you know? I imagine like the Witcher-sized horses or griffins. They can like pick up a whole horse and then fly. So keep track of your achievements as your journey unfolds. Where did we do that? Up here? My name is Mr. Wolf. I used to be a fighter. Okay. That's cool. Character. After years of training, you became a fighter to help the local villages and make this region safer for the locals and newcomers alike. While your vitality is above 0, you find ways to overcome physical struggles. And as training, you have advantage during physical interactions that involve random chance. That's cool. +1 cleanliness. You lose cleanliness when you sleep or engage in tiresome activities. To wash yourself from safe water sources, you will do so more efficiently with special equipment. So maybe you need like a washcloth or a basin or something. And it seems if we're cleaner, maybe we can get other bonuses to vitality, which is like our combat ability. We have some combat experience. We spared no animals. It either makes you a weakling or soothes your soul. We're atheists. We haven't lied yet. There's sewing experience and gambling experience there. That's cool. It's our character sheet. Alright. Some interesting things in there. We can name our horse. Right now it's called Sodal. And I don't think I read what was back there. I kind of want to go back to the screen. Let's see. I kind of want to name it Roach, just because of the Witcher. But maybe I'm going to name it Lamb, as in like Wolf and Lamb. Mr. Wolf and Lamb. Okay. For Cult of the Lamb that we just played too. Why not? Lamb is focused. Maybe it can't help you choose a path, but it's well trained. As long as you don't try to charge at a troll, you can count on it. Spot a few berry shrubs and wild cabbages. They still need at least 2 weeks to gain maturity. Alright, so there's berries out there. And cabbages. So I guess we're going to travel some more. We can either go west or east. I think they said some stuff about which way to go, but the Southern Crossroad, a point connecting the deep forests of the east and the western wetlands, and the road to Hullivan. Now, if it's wetlands, if they mean like swamps are pretty terrible terrain. Nobody would really want to be there, but deep forest means more trouble too. Let's go west. I'd rather be in a forest than a swamp. Lamb trops with ease, unbothered by a few branches covering the beaten road. The bird songs and distant howls draw your attention to the forest, which gets sparser and brighter. You spot boars, road deer, and saurians. The sight of a nearby wolf pack worries you, but once you push your hips forward and your palfrey enters a canter, beasts don't even begin a pursuit. The speed alone will protect you from many dangers. You notice a stone tower taller than the trees. It must be the inn I've heard about. I mean, this is the direction we were told to go, right? It's got some decently tall walls, a tower even. Inns like this one fit regions traveled by merchants, but you wouldn't expect a place of this size on a forsaken peninsula. The stone and lumber must have been transported from far away. And the workers, guarded by expensive mercenaries, surely lived for many seasons in a primitive hamlet, subsisting on salted supplies. There are certainly no cracks in the wall, and the building was whitewashed only a few years back. The road is wide and beaten. Dozens of souls could hide If not in the buildings, then at least in the yard. The expenses and labor put into this fortress were worth many trading ships. 3 armed people are on the ramparts, though you only see what's above their waistline. They're leaning on their parapet right next to the gate, and you think you notice a glimpse of a smile. They wear gambesons, each one of them dyed differently: yellow, green, and linen gray. Have we considered fresh meat to this guy, or is it they're waiting for the new Roadwarden? A woman in yellow armor leans forward. She has long curly hair, curly disordered red hair, pointing in every possible direction. This combination of colors doesn't work at all. In the woods, one would have to shout to draw this much attention. But I don't know. I'm more of a... I like redheads, even though they can be crazy sometimes. There's still a fair distance between the two of you, but she speaks loudly. I hadn't seen a horse for years now. I just said that it's weird to see such a jackass, huh? Her voice is young and strong, with an accent that reminds you of the villages spread around H-Town, but no jackass would wear a saddle, I'd say. She exchanges a few words with a male guard wearing green, giving you time to move closer. Well, this one here says these really are donkey saddles. Say, traveler, how hard is it to ride a horse? If you want to make friends with people like this, it's better to joke back, right? To show that you got some wit behind your ears. If you're friendly, you know, you can be considered, at this point, maybe a little too, too polite, right? And people don't like stuck-up people, right? You think they're a little too like, what do you have to be friendly about at that point? Maybe hide our emotions. I mean, we can be... This game has a lot of replayability. You can totally choose, like, different options. That's pretty cool, right? Intimidating. I mean, they haven't said anything... I mean, they're... A jackass is a donkey, right? It's not... It could be considered in modern times as, like, an insult. But we're talking in the Middle Ages here. And maybe that's just how they talk, so... Let's be playful about it. And laugh. You wouldn't believe it, the lessons we're paying. You get off your horse and imitate the silly walk from the day that followed your first long journey. When your whole shell was crying, you illustrate the pain as you move your hand from your back to your hips and your thighs. In return, the guards tell you about that time when they had to carry their friend with bitten off legs for 3 days straight, through the heart of the woods. Meanwhile, the other guards open the gate. You may be in a good mood, the woman in the yellow jacket smiles at you. Don't get so noisy when you talk to our boss. The man never smiles. He has the world's suffering sculpted on his face. He's got that resting bitch face. I don't know, I might have that kind of face, but every now and again, I smile. So... maybe we can poke through that shell of his. She leads you under the roof, under which your palfrey can rest, tethered with a cord to a wooden post, near some old hay. Once you're ready, go inside and speak with our boss. Maybe you're hungry. The other guards take care of various chores. They peek at your mount every now and then as they're splitting firewood, cleaning their clothes, weeding the garden patches, and moving chairs. 2 of them are making a rope. You head toward the inn, hearing the piercing scream of a boar from the other side of the yard. Huh. Not a pig, but a boar. Boars are usually like wild creatures. Unless that boar just got, like, slaughtered and now it's being bled out back there, and it's for food. But those things can be pretty nasty. You don't want to face one of them mano a mano, you know, without some long-range weapon. People get killed if they're, like, spear hunting, or, like, even crazier, hunting those things with a knife. Let's open the door. The locked windows make the air stuffy, and the weak fire in the stove hardly lightens up the hall. A muscular man is sweeping the floor near the stairs, but after he glances at you, he leans the broom against the wall, heads behind the counter. So, over here, and then He's leaning maybe like over here. You're lucky to show up. His voice deep and soft. We're at an inn in the morning. You can spend the entire day resting. His voice is deep and soft with a city-like accent. He observes you with keen attention, yet avoids your eyes. I have a keg of decent ale, wormwood, bog myrtle, Jupiter berries, cat's foot. He peels the mug carefully and puts it on the countertop. It's going to spoil soon. Today, maybe, and we don't drink here before the evening. Hate to see good stuff going to waste. His skin is dark, almost purple, rare even among the southern tribes, and his hair is naturally bluish. His clothes are quite fancy for manual labor. The elegant tunic would stand out in the city square. Huh. This guy's well off. Why is he here in the middle of nowhere? Some noble that wanted to be out in the middle of the woods somewhere. That's a little strange, huh? Stand at the counter here. Applying sled out a creek after every step you make, so you slow down a bit. You could swear that the innkeeper made little to no noise. There you go. He pushes the mug forward. But just so you know, my pelt to the north doesn't belong to H-Town. You can sleep on the floor if you wish so, but if you want a bed or a meal, you have to pay. We may have some leftovers from dinner, but I need to check. Okay, yeah. He might take pity on us, but I don't want pity. Let's just be friendly. Thanks for the drink. I see you know how to make friends with a Roadwarden. I guess he knows who we are, right? He's making an excuse to give us a drink. He meets your eyes with a puzzled look, then grabs a wet cloth and starts to wipe down the shells. From time to time, your conversation is interrupted by splashes of dirty water in a wooden bucket. Well, nothing is truly free. I have work for a soul of the road, but I don't need a new mouth to babble. He speaks slowly, yet audibly. I value my time, you should value yours. I drink the ale. When we get another ale on the road. The dark room and wooden walls of the mug make the liquid look as brown as a chestnut. The lay in the spring hits your nose, and the first sip is even too complex, too flowery. While the brewer has used fancy ingredients, the exotic licorice ruins the aftertaste. Now you know why there's so much left. Maybe it takes an acquired taste. The innkeeper nods. I was hoping to see someone willing to patrol the roads. Maybe you'll help me with a worrying thought I have. Which is, there are brigands in the woods. Our place is a stronghold, so I'm not afraid of an open strike. But they've gotten more active in the last 2 years. One day they may steal our furs, and I've no doubt that they're the reason why merchants come here only once. Having bandits around gets expensive. He rubs his hands together, camouflaging his paws. I want you to reach Heller's Dell, northwest from here. It's the largest settlement around. I'm sure you'll get there sooner or later. Ask Thais, the mayor, about Glaucia, that bloodthirsty wolf of a woman. I've heard rumors about a raid in the north. If Glaucia is ready to break the truce with the locals, I'm willing to join forces with them to get rid of her band. He looks at a nearby dragon bone. Not too difficult, right? Just do it when you have a chance. A couple days won't make much of a difference. I'll pay you 2 coins when you get back with the news. Fine? What's it called? Let's haggle a bit, right? 3. He observes you for a moment. 2, he growls. I could eat something. Do you have any leftovers? What do you have for sale? What do I have? Anything you like to buy? This guy drives a hard bargain, right? And we can't sweet talk our way through here. He holds the cards, but we don't have to do his dirty work if we don't want to. But we're a Roadwarden, and we're trying to help people, right? I'm looking for Astron, the previous Roadwarden. Are you now? He goes to the table and invites you to sit down with him. I don't think I'm going to be much help. He rests his elbow on the table top and grunts quietly to clear his throat. But I do want you to find him so. When asked about his intentions, he measures his words. Astron and I made a risky deal. Well, a very promising one. Last time he was here, he took 50 coins. Wow. My half of the investment. He knocks on the table with a fist anxiously. If you get my coin, or at least find out what happened to the guy, I'll make sure you won't be disappointed after bringing me the news. Could it be that Astron stole the coins and ran away? I mean, imagine giving a guy a fortune, and then he's doing this kind of line of work. Would you, after hitting the lottery, would you change? I mean, hard to say you wouldn't. He looks out a window and starts to play with the shutter. I just think Asterion, maybe that's what it is. I keep calling him Asteron, right? Asterion ain't the kind of soul that would do such a thing. For him, it wasn't much of a fortune, and I risk saying he had earned my trust. Only mine, you know. It's easy for a Roadwarden to make connections. He always had places to go, things to take care of. He rubs the table with his thumb, as if trying to clean an invisible stain. I've asked travelers, I've sent a couple of my pals to find him, no real news. I know he stayed in the White Marshes for a day, and was meant to do something for the people there. It's a village in the northwest. Just stay on the main road until you reach the bogs. Then enter them. You may get there before dusk. So let me know once you find anything. We may yet return to this whole investment thing. Now think about it. So we have a lead, at least. That bog in the northwest. Let's check. I could eat something. Do you have any leftovers? Yes, I feed them to our boar. I won't give them away for nothing. He tells you to wait and then leaves the building for a few minutes and returns with a wooden bucket. A long stick ending with a hook. Go through the gate and turn left. You'll see a bunch of bushes. We need some berries. Bring me a bucket full and you'll be done in half an hour or so. Your horse could use a nap anyway, and I'll prepare something to fill you. The hook is not made of metal or wood. It's a long, curved claw, almost black. I reach for the tools. Half an hour? That's quite a lot for berry picking. I won't do that. Do I look like someone who forges for berries? I mean, it's an honest day's work, right? Just for half an hour for scraps to a boar. That sounds pretty terrible. But we're hungry, right? So let's go get some. Let's earn our chow. We received a set of tools. The tools are cold, not too heavy. You notice a pair of thick gloves at the bottom of the bucket. Ah, the berries are not a problem. Unlike the snakes, you better scare them away with a stick or move them with a hook. And protect your hands. The little ones won't eat you, but don't get bitten. I'm sure you know how to be patient. Fine. I'll go right away, or I have other questions. What do you have for sale? I mean, that's what we want, right? He's a trader. I can go and pick up a few things for you. Some food for your travels to start with. Apples, nuts, sausage. Not too many at once. We need to maintain our supplies. I got an elk fur I don't need. Its buyer was caught by a pack of red wolves. That's for a sleeping spot, just as nice for a wall. An almost untouched bowl of soap, priceless for a traveler. Can't tell if he's being sarcastic. Made of fine oak ash. Strong, though you would have some better supplies before you start your own bathhouse. After you mentioned you'd like something more useful on these roads, he looks down. I don't have any blades or armor to spare. But if you pay well, you could take one of our crossbows and a bunch of quarrels. A yew-bow, wood cords, and the trigger needs just a little bit of oil. It's as good as you can get without soaking in magic. It takes a bit of muscle to draw, but even a 6-year-old can handle it. I won't sell it cheap, but I'm ready to give a discount to help the ally. We have our own crossbow, but maybe more ammunition wouldn't hurt, right? The soap would be kind of helpful because our appearance sucks, and maybe we should get some before we go to the next town. And then I think in our inventory we only have one food ration, so we might want to pick up some more food. Let me take a look at what you have first. So it costs one what's it called? One dragon bone to get one food ration. This high class fur, which is our, what's it called? Our sleeping mat, right? And then an oak-based balm that burns skin on longer contact. We should buy some soap. Let's get that. And then let's buy some arrows. Why not? Another food ration, maybe 2. And buy more tomorrow. Oh, that sounds fine. Do you have anything you'd like to buy? Pull out some items, but the innkeeper shakes his head. I don't need those, nor could I sell them to anyone. I'd rather make coins than waste them, so bring me something of value. Let's check our inventory real quick. So, we have more food rations now. We have 1 coin left to our name, our horse, our gambeson, the rope that we got from those people. And we got more arrows to work with. So, we're pretty well equipped now. I feel a lot better. 3 wasn't amazing, but now we have 5. What can you tell me about the peninsula? What can anyone say? This place doesn't even have a name. Unless there's an old book in an archive that no soul knows about. You know what I call everything from here to the coast? The hunting ground. He glances at your eyes. But it's not us who hunt, keep that in heart, but the beasts in all shapes and forms. His words gain confidence slowly, which is strengthened by his deep voice. I lived in this inn for over 10 years now, and I've only seen a couple of roads, a couple of places. It's just, once you get here and you see how harsh it is to hit the road, you have only more reasons to stay at the warm stove behind a wall, even if it's suffocating. He looks towards the windows. He seems like a caged bird, not willing to fly because it's too dangerous out there. But I wouldn't be able to do it. I'd fight the wilderness myself, maybe get killed in the process, but it'd be free. I'm sure you'd heard a lot already, that the people don't build hamlets anymore. There are no more ibexes from the south, and the traders stay for only a few days. All of our iron is used for cauldrons, not swords or tools. Well, that's your problem right there. You need to build those swords and tools if you want to fight back and expand. If the ibexes are... I want to say that's like a kind of deer, but I'm not sure. Let me look it up. Ibexes. Did I spell it right? E-X-E-S? They're kind of like a goat. Or a ram. Yeah, okay. So, let's see, these ibexes, I mean, the goats are good for fur, meat, milk, cheese. Okay. What will I find traveling west? Well, there are hills nearby, then you'll find a village, maybe an hour away from here. It was destroyed by beasts almost a decade ago. Nothing to see there. The goblins live there now, so most people just travel around it, and they say it's haunted. But who knows, who cares? He crosses his arms and starts to sway back and forth, gathering his thoughts. You get to a large tree on the edge of the swamp. For the locals, it's sacred. You're not used to hearing someone mentioning pagans as if there's nothing unusual about them. There's a small path south which leads to an old mine in the mountains. Nothing to find there. But keep running north and you'll find Howler's Dell, set at a clean brook. Farmers live there, and mouflons and druids. They'll let you stay for a night, but they're not cheap. If anyone thinks my prices are bad, means they ain't been to Ape Al Inn yet. He lets out a smile, gentle. I smile politely. He made a joke, right? We gotta at least laugh at his jokes. Get him on our side. I know only a bit about the next settlement, Old Pagos. The soil there ain't too fertile, so they work in their quarry and help other settlements build things in exchange for crops. The forests and hills ain't too harsh, but the Seekers have a small monastery nearby. In the mountains. I don't care much about them. They keep to themselves and they don't pay well. The third village is unknown to me. White Marshes, said the bogs. I've heard it smells like a griffin's lair. I've heard of a lot of nasty rumors about the place, but I won't share them. I don't want to be a lie spreader. So 3 villages really. Howlers, the one near the monastery, whatever it's called, and Marshes. Don't let their beds and palisades fool you, though. Weird people live there. Don't tell them more than you need to. You wonder if it's something he would tell other travelers as well. Well, we're useful to him, so he doesn't want us to die, right? Alright, the eastern road's as rough as I heard. We decided to listen to good advice and go, west instead of east. Pretty much. I don't leave the main road, I'd say. Oh, excuse me. Not so far from here, you'll find an old dolmen. Few of my people had to spend a night there, and monkeys stole food and goads from their bags. It was their fault. One of them had fallen asleep in the middle of his watch. But eastern forests are wild. The roads are rough. Almost no soul lives there. One day, all these roads will be swallowed by the trees again. The furthest my team has ever gotten was the home of the Enchantress. Just stay on track until you reach the crossroads, right near an abandoned watchtower. From there, turn east. You won't recognize the place. It's a nice home in a lonely meadow, surrounded by a wall. It looks toward the closed window, then at you again. Kind of like our walls, but simpler, without coating. She lives as a hermit, Eudocia. I don't even know how she survives there, but if you don't have any decent coin, you won't find much there. So maybe she sells some expensive exotic things. So back to the crossroads. If you turn left instead, you'll see a road. People stay away from it. It connects the tower and the monastery, a shortcut between the 2 sides of the peninsula. I was warned by the locals not to use it. It already belongs to the beasts. Have you ever been to the North Coast? I only know about another inn. It's far from here, maybe a day on the foot. A bit less from the eastern side. His eyes once again focused on the floor. I've never been there, but I've heard it's a safe place. Close to the village of the fishers and hunters. Though, I don't know much about that. That's all I need, I guess. We got a lot to talk about here. And any more information, right? Let's quick save here. How far into the... Let's see, recording are we? 43 minutes? Yeah. This would be a whole episode about the inn, huh? I didn't expect an inn of this size at a place such as this. Ah, so you know a thing or two after all. His mocking tone is soon replaced by a gentle smile. It was built long ago before we arrived. It didn't work out well for the previous owners. Once the war ended, they left. Not enough travelers. In bad trade, the villagers stick to themselves. We, however, came prepared. And now we're prospering. When you ask how they can afford all the supplies, he runs his fingers through his dark hair. Not against running an inn, but we don't rely on guests. We're the ones doing all the trading. My hunters are a clever bunch and stay safe in the forest. In exchange for furs, claws, and bones, we get what we need, and more, both from the south and the north. He moves to the window and peeks outside. We have a good life here. We spent a whole lot on armor, crossbows, lumber, spears. But another 10, maybe 20 years, we'll have enough savings to move to H-Town and not work for another day of our lives. We take risks, but smartly. The team is stronger than ever and have big plans for us. Out in the West, the Wild West of those times, when settlers would be moving to, west, past Louisiana and everywhere else, trappers would get furs for the old world, Europe and such. And those furs went for a pretty penny. So much so that in the Americas, I want to say a lot of animals went extinct because of it, right? And these guys are making a big profit just being the middleman and also trappers themselves. I think they're making a pretty smart move. It's surprising to find a purple-skinned man so far in the north. Is there a good story behind the inn's name? And I can return to my other questions. I'm kind of interested about his skin. Not that I really care particularly, but like it says it seems to be out of place, so let's ask. I ain't seen a soul looking like this since my mod died, he shrugs. It's not a fascinating tale. Let's just say that I wasn't part of the invasion. Yet I'm glad it freed all those who were chained by the cities and the Corsairs. He looks at the wall. I'm Lassen, by the way, but I rarely hear the name. We should have started with that first, You introduced us to, I don't know if you asked for our name, right? Maybe he's trying to keep a distance. Is there a good story behind the inn's name? I mean, there's a story, but not a good one. He clears his throat. For years, I wanted to have an inn called Pelts, but in my city, it would be in a bad taste. Taverns and inns named with a single word were cheap, had a nasty reputation. There was the Claw, and the Mugger, the Basilisk, and the Blissful, I think. In good places used at least 2 words. The Empty Barrel, a rose and a helmet, the Empress's Smile, Pighead was the exception. It was a real dive. In my soul, it's still just a pelt. Pelts are what we came here for, and what will make us reach our goals. See? Yeah. And let's return to some other questions. So, we got 2 more things to do. About Glaucia's band, those bandits and brigands. He freezes, observing your hands silently. He wants me to get the answer from the mayor of Howler's Den. Alright, I'm on it. Any rumors worth sharing? He crosses his arms. I don't like to talk about people who ain't nearby. Show me first that you're someone worth changing a habit for. A man of his principles, I guess. Waiting to see who we are. We're new in town. And nobody trusts the new guy. That's all I need. I go outside. Alright. Let's approach the guards real quick. The woman in yellow armor is kneeling next to a brown, hairy boar, which is resting on its side. The beast is not as large as the dark ones from the forest. It responds to a touch of human's hand and a brush with grateful grunting, rapid twitches of a hind hoof. No matter how friendly it appears, it's still tethered to the well. You have no doubts that its charge will leave the lamb dead in a breath. Oh, jeez. When the woman notices you, she steps forward to the boar's disappointment. So the new Roadwarden? She points out a window with her chin. Forestalling the question. We don't need anything now, but when we travel with our furs, we can use some assistance. She may be around 30, but her warm voice and bright smile are camouflaging the touch of time on her unpowdered face. Like many red-haired people with freckles, her skin is unhealthily pale. The boar runs up to her, observing your boots and fruitlessly sniffing for food beneath the beaten ground. She pats it back, but maintains her focus. How about a game or two? We have a bit of time and we can talk a bit about this and that. Maybe you'll get a couple of coins or lose one, she winks. You can play dice or throw axes at a target. Oh, you're challenging me to a game? Ah, man. When, she's probably been doing this for a while, right? But axe throwing, show me what you got. Your rivals, especially the dragon bone you put out, are cheerfully welcome. The guards prepare a couple of wooden planks, which are leaned against the wall. There are also spectators, and you're told that the other hunters are either sleeping or have duty on the tower. Remember, no magic, says one of the players. His face is deadly serious. There's going to be 4 participants in 8 rounds. You have the target drawn with charcoal. The person whose axe lands closest to the center of the circle gets a point. Axes that fail to stay in the plank don't count. The person who has the most points at the end of the last turn becomes the winner. Let's blend in with the group. We're a fighter, right? We gotta use this. All I gotta do is try my best? Nah, we're trained to do this, right? You talk a lot, but also don't say much. You share casual jokes, memories, and views on luck and optimal strategies. Lamb and Tulia's camp are also brought up, but when you ask about the roads or the locals, their stories are vague. Man. Must be some place if they're keeping quiet about the area around here. The drinks are here. It's a poor beer made from the leftovers after regular brewing. It's cold, sweet, and doesn't reach your head. You try to avoid the smell. Just don't spill anything. The boar may get sick, says the opponent with one arm. As a guest, you start with the first throw. Your axe flies well, hitting the very middle of the painted target, and piercing the plank with a pleasant thud, which makes it really difficult for the other players to outperform you. A minute later, you won the first round, but you can't expect to be that lucky every time. Why do we need luck? I've trained in axe throwing for years. I got this, right? After a long series of misses, you finish with 1 point, the second and last place. What? You give the gasping winner your dragon bone. Cheers, he says, but doesn't make a deal out of it. Light-hearted comments of the other losers lighten up the mood. The guard in the yellow armor approaches you with a smile. What? I was betting on us winning there. That sucks. So we're down to what? 1 dragon bone? Not even. Oh, that was our last dragon bone. Well, time well spent, I guess. Have you ever been at the heart of the woods? We sometimes hunt south from here. There are good hunting grounds in the western half. The second one is too overgrown. Maybe the soil is different. She shrugs, and then moves that hair away from her forehead. But it's a risky spot. There are trents there, and wolves, and even the furless ones. You have to go through the tall grasses, watch out for what's on the ground. There ain't many archers in the trees. She smiles as if it's a joke, but there are too many worms, even larger than a water leech. Jeez. This place is infested with monsters. Tell me about yourself. Oh, what was that? After a brief giggle. Oh, what was that? After a brief giggle, her voice gets cold and serious. Nah, Roadwarden. We use names and stories among friends. You ain't one. Don't make me tempt curses. She doesn't trust me enough to tell me about herself. Man, we tried to hit on her a little bit. I mean, you can't blame me. I like redheads, man. The innkeep has asked me to forage for berries. Okay, yeah. Shekels. Oh, don't worry about it. Usually we forage by ourselves, but he wouldn't ask you for a dragon for a meal. Ask you for a dragon for a meal. He gives small jobs to people all the time, just to see who agrees to do them. Wants to judge who's of use and who's too proud for their own good. If you agree, just be sure to get those berries today. Don't try to take his tools away. He hates thieves. Alright, let's question about the place. There's an unusual tower. I expect to be closer to a gate and shorter. Like in H-Town? Fair. But it ain't there to protect the gate. The stronghold was built long before we moved in. Not to fight off humans. The tower is meant to be used by those who observe the deep forest. We look out for fires, dragons, and any winged creatures that are looking to roost on the roof. Baldy! She nods toward a man who indeed is completely bald, has a great eye. Sees well even in the darkness. Any interesting creatures living nearby? Here? Everything here. She flips her hair. I swear. We saw a few dragons, a unicorn family. A battle between trolls and goblins. Faced 2 beastmen. Oh, and a gargoyle. And a hunting queen shouts all the time. I could tell you about all of them, but I won't. She winks and pats the boar on its head. You know, hunters have their secrets. Well, the secret is that boar can probably smell them from a mile away, right? Maybe further. Supposedly those boars have a better sense of smell than even dogs, so I think where I got that from is that they're better at detecting where truffles are, those expensive mushrooms that you get on your spaghetti, right? That you want shaved on there. But when the pigs find them, they want to eat them. So sometimes it's better to use dogs who won't eat the mushrooms. But where are we in the recording? Yeah, 5 minutes. Let's keep going a little bit longer. Your group seems to be quite attached to this boar. Could you not be? She crouches and raises the boar's head, but it steps away and squeals as someone's murdering it. It came with us from the city, just in case. We had no clue how our first winter would go, so we needed some backup meat, and it works. 2 cleans the dirt. She reaches out to the beast again, but it trots away. The woman straightens up with a pleased sigh. You haven't needed to eat it so far, but it's also funny. I learned in my home village that farm boars are getting a bit smaller and more cuddly, kind of like ibexes, so it's not such a wild, dangerous beast. We don't let it get close to the other animals or children. So yeah, I guess we domesticate the boars and they turn into pigs, right? And then the ibexes turn from these longhorn goats into more friendly goats, right? Which you usually hunt for. And then we can eat or sell. There's a partridge, a squirrel, or a rat. We don't complain. But when we move as a group, we look for something larger. Deers and aurochs are delicious, but we don't always look for taste alone. There's value in bones, antlers, claws, and tusks. Things people use to make tools or sculptors. You use some of them to make tools and spears. You can never have enough spears. She pauses and looks at the strand of her hair, and then suddenly speaks up again. And we look for furs, of course. Oh, these look like interesting questions right here. What can I find in north here? I'm sorry, we don't really go to those regions. We stay close to home. Only sometimes move south or west to Haller's Dell, but only to trade. They're fine with buying more than they need, since they make wares to. They then take those wares to the coast. She takes a long breath, twirling her hair and gathering her thoughts. You know what? I've never even seen a beach. I've been living here for how many? More than 10 years now. The only part of the sea I've ever seen was the Old Pagos, which is placed on a hill. Never put a toe in salt water. She looks up toward another huntress, who confirms that her experience is the same. But Old Pagos is a good place, as long as you don't mock their order and act nice. They'll also be kind. Boss says they're too serious for him to stand them, but at least they don't bite without a reason. Heard anything about the necromancers? It's something new. Her voice lowers to a whisper. Never been to the White Marshes, but over the years we've seen people moving away from there. Moving from there south. They told us that this place has changed too much. A priest died, I think. And the new one awakens the dead. Sorry, Roadwarden, that's all I know. She's hiding something, she sounds convincing. Alright. I guess I'm looking for knowledge about wild creatures. Well, I told her knowledge is value, I don't know. She looks at the boar, which seems to obsess with a clump of grass growing next to the wall. 15 dragons, no less. Is there any discount for friends? Well, depending on the friend, she gives you a radiant smile. Let's say 15. If it's too much for you, maybe ask me after you spend some time around. Show us what you're capable of. Or play dice with us when you have an hour to spare. These folks here, she starts with a whisper, points with a thumb at the guards behind them. They crave gossip. Yeah, we don't have the coin to do that, so I think there's a lot to do here. There really is. But if you want to see more, go ahead and leave a subscribe to, make sure that you don't miss any more of the episodes. But I'll see you guys later. Bye.